Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Chtib Zhang show. It is episode 29. And in today's episode, Eric, since sports are quickly going away from us, the NHL, NBA, not much is going on. So we will be talking about the most relevant things happening in the sport, which is the NHL Expansion Draft happening July 21st. Seattle will be picking from players. We'll give our thoughts over recent trades that have also happened in the league. And we'll also be talking a little UFC, just a little UFC.
Yeah.
But as always, this episode is brought to you by Hot Streak Fantasy, the best in-play fantasy app on the market. Pick 2 to 3 players in the NBA while you're watching your favorite teams and watch them make you some money. Hot Streak is matching your initial deposit as a bonus, so get Hot Streak Fantasy app now. Every episode we say it. The NBA is almost over. This app will soon, I don't want to say soon be over, but right now there won't be much to do on it after the NBA season. So if you still haven't downloaded Hot Streak Fantasy, make sure to download it. Get going on making some money while watching the Bucks and Suns go at it for the remainder of the series, which could be like tomorrow. It could be all over.
Yeah.
So make sure to jump on that quickly. Actually, next week, by the time you see this episode, the series would be over. So
exactly.
You definitely missed out. You should have been listening last week prior. Anyway, before we get into the episode, as always, roll it! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Chtib Zhang show. It is episode 29. Eric getting close to that 30, that 30 mark. For anyone wondering, me and Eric, no, we don't take our haircuts together. We actually got these two separated. It's just a coincidence. It happened in the same week. So no, we aren't bro, but we don't have that crazy bromance like that where we go everywhere with each other. Anyway, moving on into the episode, Eric. The NHL, of course, we talked about the Stanley Cup. It's over. We'll talk about the free agents signings coming up ahead. But in between that, Eric, we have 2 special events called the NHL Expansion Draft.
Yeah.
Might be new for some people because there's only been 2 of them so far in modern era. And, of course, the NHL Draft, the actual draft, picking prospects coming up July 23rd. So a lot of stuff happening in the world of hockey in a matter of days, Eric. So, as always, the experts that we are, we're going to jump into the NHL Expansion Draft, where July 21st, the Seattle Kraken will be selecting 30 players from 30 NHL teams, excluding the Vegas Golden Knights. They don't have to worry about this because they just entered the league, whatever. Gary Bettman wants to keep that team intact. So, only 30 teams. The Hot Sauce Sports family is actually making an article about what players will be picked and what's the Seattle team going to look like. So we're not going to go through every team and, who we think is getting picked and blah, 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 because first of all, it takes way too much preparation. And number one, that's something we don't do. And another thing is that's going to be a long episode if we were to do that. So instead, we're just going to give an overall, thoughts about it. Some of the players that were left unprotected, what Seattle's team could look like, what direction should they take? Should they go the Vegas Golden Knights way? Should they, start fresh, rebuild, suck from the beginning, and then, build a contender? It's up to the Kraken. So, Eric, let's look at some of the facts already for the Seattle Expansion Draft, starting off with a goaltender from the Florida Panthers. Chris Driedger is reportedly going to sign with the Seattle Kraken, a pick and sign deal pretty much. As we know, the Florida Panthers are taking Bobrovsky, that $10.5 million contract. I think he has a no movement clause. So they're going to have to protect him, which leaves the young up-and-coming Chris Driedger, who had a great season last year, proved that he could probably get some starts. So Seattle's taking him. They're going to sign him to a 3-year,
But Florida's probably not too upset because Florida, they have like Spencer Knight, Devin Levy.
He's got the best goaltending depth in the league, maybe.
Exactly. So
they got Spencer Knight. They got the guy,
Devin Levy,
who played for Team Canada. And they got Big Bob. So they have a lot of questions. So obviously they're going to lose one of these guys. Chris Driedger is going to go to Seattle on a 3-year, $10.5 million. So that's 3.5 AAV, which is, not the word. I love this deal, honestly. Chris Driedger, 27. He had a good season last year. Proved that he could be a starter. And $3.5 million, honestly, It's 3 years, 10.5, 3.5 is just. I don't think it's that scary of a number for fans to worry if this deal doesn't work out and Chris Driedger is not the guy that they thought. It's not like they signed him for like what Mikko Koskinen Peter Chiarelli signed Koskinen for. That was a terrible contract. I still remember that. So it's a good contract. There's very much upside where it's a steal of a deal, or downside is at the end of the day you're an expansion team. You have tons of cap space. 3.5 is not going to hurt you. So he's going to be one of the goaltenders there, Eric. Still one more goaltender available. And while we're talking about goaltenders, why don't we just go into the biggest news of the Seattle Expansion Draft from Montreal Canadiens standpoint, Eric? Yeah. Carey Price has decided to waive his no movement clause. He told Marc Bergevin that he's going to have surgery coming up. So he said, let me just waive it. This wasn't Bergevin's idea. It wasn't the team's idea. It was actually Carey's idea to waive it so they could protect Jake Allen, who most likely would have been taken by the Seattle Kraken because he was going to be left unavailable or available. Sorry, he was going to be left available. So Carey Price, was he 33 years old, 34, something like that? $10.5 million goaltender. How many years left?
I think it's 5. I think it's like 5.
He signed in what, 2016, 2015, something like that. Yeah. So 8 years. 1, 2, 3, 4. So yeah. Wait, how many years are left? There's probably 4 years left or something like that. 4 or 5. I'm not sure, but anyway,
still a couple years left though for sure.
It's a bold move. It's a bold move by Carey Price. Honestly, even though I'm going with my gut feeling and I'm saying that the Seattle Kraken don't pick Carey Price, it'd be a shock if they did. Yeah. Because honestly, I also don't even know how I'd feel if Carey Price ended up getting picked by the Kraken. That's the heart and soul of the team, the best goaltender on the planet going away. But at the end of the day, $10.5 million.
And this is not a Marc-Andre Fleury situation. This is completely different. Marc-Andre Fleury was the second best goalie at the time. His contract was so good. Like he was in that player and he was in that goalie anymore. Carey Price is complete opposite. Obviously he's aging still, but Carey Price still like top 2, top 3 goaltenders in the league. Oh yeah. He's still at the top of his game. And to be honest, it looks nice from Carey Price. Like Jake Allen, once they're back, that duo is going to be insane if they get to play together. Looks good.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely a different scenario here, but because of the contract situation, Carey Price is the highest paid goaltender in the league, I think. Yeah, still 10.5. So, if he gets taken, that's all that money off the books for the Montreal Canadiens. So, yeah, you can build a competitive team with all that free cap space, yet you don't get the same goaltender, but still at the end of the day, you have Jake Allen as your starter. I'm fine with that. You can make more moves in the offseason. You have some cap relief. It's not the worst thing if Carey Price were to get taken, even though I really doubt he will. This is just, last week I said I really doubt that the Montreal Canadiens decide to ask Carey Price to waive his no movement clause, and that's what they were going to do originally. Marc Bergevin was going to protect him, but now Carey Price stepped forward and said, listen, I'm going to have knee surgery, so I'm going to go public with that. That way it leaves a bad taste in the Kraken's mouth so they don't take me. And yeah, hopefully it works. And that, like I said, at the end of the day, we'll see. I'd be very shocked if they were to take Carey Price. I'd be shocked just in general if it happened. But not the worst. Not the worst thing. That's how I'm seeing it. Mm-hmm. So Carey Price left unavailable. They signed Chris Driedger to a 3-year deal, Eric, for $3.5 million. I don't know. I don't think they're signing this guy to play backup. I think they want him to get some splits, maybe, because I'm looking at some of the goaltenders available. Eric, some of the notable goaltenders for the Kraken to pick from. You got Ben Bishop, Driedger. They're going to pick Jonathan Quick. They're not going to take Kaapo Kähkönen. Eric was one we were talking about that. A young goaltender from Minnesota Wild, rookie. Yeah. He had a rookie season this year, a pretty good season. Started off really hot, then had some slow patches, but. Chris Driedger's 27, Kaapo Kähkönen's 24, Eric. I think, in my opinion, they should take Kaapo Kähkönen. Mm-hmm. Why not have 2 young goaltenders and just ride the crease out? Like, why not? Yeah. Why are they interested in Braden Holtby? You have Kaapo Kähkönen there. Carey Price is available. Matt Murray's available. They're not going to take him. Martin Jones is available. Braden Holtby and Vitek Vanacek from Washington, the young guy. And I've heard reports that the Kraken are reportedly interested in Braden Holtby. Which, I guess
It
is
wouldn't
kind
be the
of
worst.
they would take him as a shield for Chris Driedger. I guess they would split for sure, but to give time for Chris Driedger to develop in this league, because this is his like first time full season as the Florida Panther, as an NHL goaltender. So that's how I see it. But at the end of the day, when you're an expansion team, if I were the GM, I'm taking Capo Kakkonen. I don't care like about the vet, like the goaltender experience. I guess it's important to have a vet in the cage and stuff for young goalies. But when I have the chance to have two young goaltenders, promising goaltenders, like I'm not going to miss out on that.
Exactly.
Like who cares if my team's garbage the next year, right? That's the whole point of an expansion team is to be shit at the beginning.
Not everyone can be like Vegas. Like
Vegas took a different approach. Yeah. Vegas was all in. They've just traded. We'll talk about the Cody Glass trade, but they just traded all their first round picks from 2017. All of them, all three of them, they've traded. Was it Suzuki, Cody Glass, and Eric Brandstrom? I think it was Eric Brandstrom, which they traded to Ottawa for Mark Stone.
I think so, yeah.
So they traded all three of their first round picks. They clearly went into a win now mode. They traded for Max Pacioretty. They traded for Mark Stone. They signed Pietrangelo. They trade for Martinez. They, they get Marc-Andre Fleury, luckily, and then they trade for Leonard. And then basically they're in an all-win now.
Yeah.
Remember how many first-round picks they traded first, second, and third for Thomas Tatar. Then they traded Thomas Tatar and Nick Suzuki for Max Pacioretty. So that's basically two first-round picks you're trading.
Yeah.
And two second-round picks and a third you're making for Max Pacioretty. So at first, there's a lot of people going with George McPhee, like, listen, what's going on? We're an expansion team. This guy's trading all our future assets away, which he did. But that's what you get. You get a competitive team in Vegas because you have draft capital, right, at first, and then you can just give it away. And, of course, you're going to get good players for it. But now, Vegas is still a good team with Jonathan Marchessault, all those guys, but that's their core, right? Once those guys run out, I don't know, Vegas can be, like, bad. They're going to have to go – they're going to have to rely on some of the youth. Like, what youth do they have? They traded all their young prospects pretty much. They're promising ones for the lease. So that's one way you can do it, like Vegas, is go and try to win the cup the first year, whatever, and we'll see what the consequences of going that way. Or you can maybe Seattle go the usual way. I say usual, but then you look at the expansion teams. Yeah, but this is an expansion team. Let's remember, this isn't a relocated team, right? Yeah. Like the Avs, of course, people will say, well, Colorado won it their first year. Well, really, it was the Quebec Nordiques team.
Nordiques,
that just got relocated.
Team was stacked. Yeah,
this is a team that you're building from the ground up. So why not, obviously I'm taking the approach of, I want to build a young team at first, a young promising team that could win in the future. And if we lose it first, whatever, we'll get high picks. That's how I see it. So Chris Driedger, Capo Kakkonen, and two young goalies that have proven themselves, that have seen signs of potential this season. I'm taking them. I don't know why Ben Bishop's or Braden Holtby's on the radar. I guess they're really strong on that vet goaltender duo. I don't know. I'm going in the other direction. I take Capo Kakkonen. And then you have those two goaltenders, 1 and 2. And then Eric, some of the crazy things going on in the forward end. Looks like Seattle at this point could build a super team with some of the guys left untouched. Let me just go through some of the list here. A lot of vets, a lot of guys who are overpaid. Yeah. But at the end of the day, there's some good players here. So I'll go quickly. You get Ryan Getzlaf, vet, Adam Henrique, vet, Jeff Skinner's not getting picked, Lucic is not getting picked. Nino Niederreiter is a good player who can get picked from Carolina. That's someone I'd be looking at. JT Compher from Colorado, Jonas Donskoy. Yeah. Max Domi's for sure going to get picked from Columbus. He's still a young center, still trying to find a place in this league. So maybe, get that. He didn't really have pressure in Columbus, number one, compared to Montreal. And then you go to Seattle, he'll have zero pressure. So hopefully he can build his young career still there. Nola Chari, Alex Wemberg, Victor Rask, and then Paul Byron, of course, is available. Jonathan Drouin, we'll talk about his $5.5 million deal. Matt Duchene, his $7 million deal. Kyle Yarncroc, Ryan Johansson, Andreas Janssen, Josh Bailey, Jordan Eberle, Evgeny Dadonov, James Van Riemsdyk, Jakub Voracek, Brandon Tanev, Jason Zucker, Vladimir Tarasenko. Eric is not getting protected by the Blues. Yeah, I really thought that they would listen. It seems like GM Doug Armstrong's okay with losing Vlad for nothing, which I'm not really okay with, because there are people that would pay top dollar for a player like Vlad.
Oh yeah.
And I definitely would have protected him because then I would have traded him at the NHL draft, whatever. There's no doubt in my mind. I feel like Seattle's going to take him. I mean, this guy, Tarasenko has had 5 seasons, Eric, of 33 plus goals, including an NHL career high of 40 in 2015, 2016. I mean, this guy's a sniper still. You look at the top, you look at some of the scorers, the top 5 scorers in the NHL in the past 5 years or whatever, I guarantee you Tarasenko's up there.
Fair.
So,
but don't forget, he does get injured a bit, like,
yeah.
But he has, like, to me, he's
major
like
upside still.
And for an 82 game season, to me, he's like a 70-point player, like consistently.
God, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
so what's his contract? He has like 2 more years, I think, of 7.5.
It's not.
So it's still a great deal. So I'm like, Seattle's gonna take this guy. Maybe they could flip him at the deadline of 1 year, like James Neal for Vegas. You know what I mean? They could get a lot for. And there's no doubt in my mind Tarasenko's getting picked from them. Just like there's no doubt that Gabriel Landeskog is gonna get picked by. He's a free agent, Gabriel Landeskog.
Yeah, he's a free agent, so I know he's a free agent,
but they might draft for his rights.
Yeah,
and if they want to sign him, and maybe trade his rights away.
I doubt Colorado's gonna let, like, there's no way.
But listen, they left him unprotected, and there's been contract stall with Colorado and Gabriel Landeskog, and it might be weird. I don't know what Gabriel Landeskog is probably asking for, and I could see why Colorado could be a little hesitant because they have Nathan MacKinnon who still comes up, and he's saying it first. I'm taking a pay cut, whatever. I want this team to win. But that's Nathan MacKinnon now saying this. Who knows when his contract's actually up? And, his agent's telling him, like, listen, MacKinnon, we can really get some freaking dough here. I don't think they want to lock a guy like Landeskog up for $8 million for 8 years or whatever, because you got to also remember that some of the players this guy's playing for, right?
Yeah.
Of Nathan MacKinnon and Mikko
Rantanen, yeah.
Like, that's obviously, the way I see it is you can put any mediocre skilled player on that line and it'll work.
Yeah.
I feel like. Like, I'm not going to dish Gabriel Landeskog. He's a great player, great skater, knows the game very well. He's got strong IQ. But, I don't know if I'd give this guy $8 million a year for 8 years. Because at the end of the day, your stats are padded, right? Your stats have been padded because you're playing with some of the best players in the league.
Yeah,
how I see it, and I think that's how. What's his name? Joe Sakic sees it too. He's a smart GM, Joe Sakic. He's been great with contracts. He hasn't really overpaid anyone. He's been great in deals. So I don't think he wants to throw out money like that, especially with Cale Makar's contract coming up, Nate McKinnon's contract coming up. They're not going to be able to afford some of these guys.
Yeah.
So who knows? Does Gabe Landeskog leave Colorado? That's what it seems like. They're leaving him permission to talk to other teams. It doesn't seem like he's going to re-sign because he's going to go out into free agency and some team might overpay for him. And so Gabe Landeskog with the Colorado Avalanche. That's he's never played for another team. He was drafted, became captain right away.
So young, he was
one of the youngest captains. Yeah, him and McDavid. I think McDavid's the youngest, right? At 18. Yeah. Was he captain first? Yeah, right. McDavid was captain.
I think McDavid was literally just a couple days or months earlier than
Gabe Landeskog. Yeah. So he's available, but you're right. He's a free agent. Don't think they're going to take him. Then you got some of the Tampa boys. You got Gord, Tyler Johnson, Matthew Joseph, Andre Palat, Killorn. So Killorn's a free agent.
Yeah.
I don't know about Palat. How many deal? What's his deal? You want to check?
Yeah.
So you got Andre Palat. One player I'm looking at a lot from Tampa is Matthew Joseph. He was year Tampa got Steven Stamkos injured. I forget what year that was. It was like 2015, 2016. I think this guy got drafted. That's when the year Steven Stamkos got injured and Tampa missed the playoffs. And that was the year everyone was saying next year they're going to be gross again because Stamkos was going to come back. And they had a high pick and they picked Matthew Joseph.
Yeah.
With the way Tampa is looking next year, Matthew Joseph is going to be slated to have a spot confirmed on the wing because they're going to be losing guys like Killorn potentially or Palat.
So Palat has 1 year left on his deal, $5.3 million.
2021, 22?
Yeah, that's his last year.
So he has 1 more year after this. So that's some guy they could look at taking and flipping at the deadline or something like that to a competitive team. But Matthew Joseph, it's either him or Palat, I feel like. is getting taken. And I'd seriously consider Matthew Joseph. I'd go with the youth. I'd always pick youth. Palat's a great player.
Yanni Gord too, though. Like
Yanni Gord, but his contract's a bit hefty. He's making like 6, I think. I think he got a little overpaid by by Julien Brisebois. You could check his contract. It's pretty bad, I think. It's like 6 it's like 6 million, I think he's making. Because he had that great rookie season of like 60-something points. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, yeah, it's 5.1.
5.1? For how much? For how long? Again? 6 years?
Until 24, 25.
Yeah. So $5 million compared to Matthew Joseph. How old is Matthew Joseph? He's got to be like...
he's so young.
He's got to be like 22, 23 now? Matthew Joseph, I feel like. He's a gross player. I would seriously consider taking him.
He's 24.
Yeah, I'm seriously consider taking him over Palat. I take the youth. Obviously, I'm taking youth. And Matthew Joseph, I've seen sparks. He's had a couple good games in the Stanley Cup Finals against the Montreal Canadiens. So he's one guy for sure. That Tampa. If I'm Tampa Bay, I'm like, oh my god, like what do you want for like to keep him on this team? I like send you a second or whatever. But if I'm Seattle, I'm taking him. So you have those groups of Tampa boys available. You got the Leafs where you have Alex Kerfoot, Jared McCann, Jason Spezza, Wayne Simmons.
I'm telling you, I really like McCann as a player.
Jared McCann?
Yeah, he was really good in Pittsburgh before. Yeah, he was good. I know they traded I think it was a first. I don't know if it was a first round, but they traded like
a seventh round. No, I thought it was a nothing round. I thought
maybe it was like opposite.
Nothing. I don't think. Yeah, it was.
Maybe it was the opposite then. Yeah.
And then Jason Spezza, Wayne Simmons, they're sticking around. Connor Sherry from the Capitals available, and of course, I think Mason Appleton is for sure getting picked from the Winnipeg Jets. We know Jake's pissed off about this. Mason Appleton is a guy he wanted to keep, but there's no doubt he scored 18 goals, I think, this year. He's playing on a third line wing role. Give this guy some time, Eric. He's a good player. Mason Appleton, for sure, you can put money on it, is getting picked from the Winnipeg Jets. Looking at the defensemen, Eric, a lot of old guys, a lot of grizzled vets. And mind you, there's going to be a lot of trades happening come the 21st. A lot of, like, we've already seen it, like Nick Leddy, you saw, went to Detroit, Richard Panik. A lot of these players that aren't getting protected, and the team know they're not going to protect them, looking to move these guys. So that's what you saw. I think Nolan Patrick was not getting protected from Philly, so they wanted to look to move him because he for sure would have probably been picked, a young 22-year-old center. So keep that in mind. Some of these deals, some of these players might get traded beforehand, whatever. But from the defenseman side, we have Kevin Shattenkirk from the Ducks, Mark Giordano from the Flames, Jake Gardner, Carolina, Nikita Zadorov, Eric Johnson, Will Butcher. Look at that name from New Jersey, Will Butcher. PK Subban with his deal. He's not getting touched. Don't worry about it. Vince Dunn from the Blues. Travis Dermott. Travis Dermott, I think, is getting chowed by Kraken. Brendan Doan from the Capitals. Justin Schultz, Capitals. Dylan DeMello from the Jets. Those are some of the notable ones.
Not bad.
And Jake Bean, for those who don't, for the prospect fiends, Jake Bean, Carolina D, a young promising prospect. He's also available for Seattle to take. So look for his name to be taken by from Carolina to be taken by the Kraken. So basically, a lot of those there's a lot of those players available, but I think a lot of these names on this list are a bunch of vets that have a big name, and I don't think it's getting like Mark Giordano. I don't think they're going to take Mark Giordano. Kevin Shattenkirk. I don't think like,
because let's not forget.
Go ahead.
In the expansion draft, there's so many trades. Like so many teams are like, "Oh, I'll give you a first round if you pick him." Like in the Vegas one,
contracts,
it happens so often. Like you can't predict that stuff. So like we can say all these names, all these defensemen, but like most likely, like at least like 10, 15 players, like the Seattle will be forced to pick them. You know?
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, you're gonna pick some vets. You're gonna pick grizzled guys because you can't just have a team of youth, right?
Yeah.
You need some experience. So maybe you see guys like Shattenkirk get picked, right? To man your top pairing in Seattle, or Will Butcher from New Jersey. I'm surprised they're not protecting him. What D would they be protecting in
Severson.
Damian Severson.
What's his name? I don't know.
Why am I blanking there? I feel like I thought Will Butcher was one. Isn't he not their top D? One of their top defensemen, Will Butcher.
One up there. I guess not good
Who are they
enough.
protecting? Can you see? Can you let me know who?
Yeah, I'll let you know.
Who New Jersey's protecting? Because it's Severson for sure. That's one. Do they have young promising guys that have played? I'm blanking. But yeah, so those are some of the notable names. Eric.
Oh, okay, yeah. So they got Ryan Graves protected. They just
Ryan. Okay, yeah, Ryan Graves for sure. Yeah.
Severson and Siegenthaler. I don't know that.
Siegenthaler. Yeah. So okay, so he's a prospect too. Yeah, I know him. Yeah. Wow. So look, that's a guy like I'm surprised they didn't go the 4D because a guy like Will Butcher, I don't know what his contract is, but he's a good defenseman.
Yeah, he's a really
I'd be
good
looking
defenseman.
to snag by Seattle, along with you can have Will Butcher, Travis Derman, you can get in your decor. Man, there's so many, and then you can get a vet guy like Kevin Shattenkirk you can draft to man your top pairing, or Nikita Zadorov, a big guy, not experience, but big body Zadorov.
But you see that like Colorado, they traded Ryan Graves, or like
because they knew
exactly.
they knew that they were going to be able to protect him, so they traded him for something at least. Yeah. And and New Jersey's lucky enough to be on the other end. Exactly. Ryan Graves, great, steady shutdown defenseman in his own zone, and for a second-round pick, I'd pay a second-round pick for Ryan Graves. He's a good defenseman. I like him a lot. So those are some of the names available that we'll be saying. We think will be taken. At the end of the day, like I said, they are just big names that people know. Like freaking Jeff Skinner's not getting picked anywhere.
No,
like, he's not getting
that contract is so bad.
Like Milan Lucic. Like those are some of the just players. No, it's just the NHL hasn't showed some of the smaller prospect names that people don't know.
Oh, it happens so often. Like that's what happened with Alex Tuck, William Karlsson. Like players.
There's a lot of good players.
Super low key players.
So let's look at some of the Montreal Canadiens. Like we said, Paul Byron's left unavailable. Yeah. Don't think he's going to get picked up because of his contract, 3.4, I think, like that. Here's an interesting one. Jonathan Drouin, $5.5 million. I still think he got traded in 2017. He signed a 5-year deal off the bat. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. He has 2 more deals?
I'd say 2. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 2.
Drouin has 2 or 1 more years, something like that. So he has $5.5 million. As we know, Drouin, he's a young, talented player. Obviously, he's going through some stuff right now. So Marc Bergevin will have to talk to him, figure out if he's playing this season, if he wants to stick around with the Montreal Canadiens, or if he's going to remain on the LTIR. That's going to save the Montreal Canadiens a lot of cap. But at the end of the day, they left him unprotected. He's up for grabs by Seattle. If you're the Seattle Kraken, do you take a guy like Jonathan Drouin? Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
I mean, I would. Wouldn't you?
Yeah. I'd take a chance on Jonathan Drouin.
You look at some of the guys left unavailable for the Montreal Canadiens, it's not much, right?
But I wouldn't be surprised if they go – and for Montreal, there's like these like pretty young, like random, like even like Charles Hudon or like Luca.
Charles Hudon is not with Montreal though. He's not with Montreal.
Oh, he's not? Okay,
he's in Europe. He's in Europe now.
No, but even like Luca Vejdemo, I remember seeing him in the HL.
Like,
players like that, like I'll tell you, it's gonna happen more often than you think. These random players are just gonna get picked. Bro, it happens.
Well, yeah, if you get, because maybe that's because they someone traded a pick to that team, right? And they're like, take my AHL.
But it happened the same. Like I remember for Detroit, they took Thomas Nosek. At the time, for Detroit, it was a random player. And then Thomas Nosek, now he's a pretty decent player for.
I'll tell you, Lucas Gemma, whatever I know what you're talking about, is in the AHL prime time.
No, I'm just saying that because I saw
in the AHL.
Because I remember seeing him for the Laval Rockets. He was in bad. I think he scored a goal the game I watched.
If I'm Jonathan Drouin, I mean, if I'm Seattle, talking to my scouts, I'm like, listen, is Drouin a coachable guy? He is coachable. I do believe he's coachable. It's the pressure, I think, that's the biggest thing. Get him to Seattle. There's no freaking pressure. He has 1 or 2 years left on his deal, maybe 3. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure it's 2 years, though. At 5.5, like, you're going to have the cap space. Worst comes to worst, you throw him on LTIR. And then if not, then when his contract's done, you could sign him for less, and he could be a young, promising guy with talent. And, like the Avs, there was talks of Jonathan Drouin going to the Avalanche to rekindle his relationship with Nate McKinnon. and see if they can get something going. And there was talks about Ryan Graves going the other way or something like that.
Well, that could have been nice.
If I'm Seattle, I'd take Drouin because I don't think there's anyone left really from the Montreal Canadiens available.
Exactly.
Like Paul Byron, you're not going to take. Brett Kulak, like I'm not taking these guys. Like there's better guys out there. Drouin's like the dark horse that you could take that has upside. Yep. So there's him. There's Matt Duchene from Nashville, $7 million deal. Almost came to Montreal. Thank God he didn't. $7 million. He's left it all unavailable. Andreas Janssen, young prospect. Josh Bailey, Jordan Eberle, like we said. Then you have Jakub Voracek, is some of those vet guys that they could pick up, but then again, they have expensive deals at the end of the day.
But Van Riemsdyk would be pretty nice on that. To me, he looks like a expansion. He'll look like a James Neal.
And his contract's not that big. I don't think that crazy big.
Probably like 6-7, but
no,
still like. Is it not? I swear it's like 6.
I think it's like 5 something. 5.5 maybe. But there's gonna be some vets guys that are gonna get picked up. There's gonna be some guys who are gonna have bad contracts who are gonna get picked up. Some swapping of draft picks for insurance and all that.
Yeah, Chtib, it's $7 million. James Van Riemsdyk.
No, they did not sign him for $7 million.
Yeah.
For how long?
Until 2022, 2023. Like
how long was that deal? 4 years? 3 years?
5.
What?
Yeah, in 2018, 2019. He's 7 mil.
$7 million?
Yeah.
What?
But it's not a bad, like James Van Riemsdyk is good, man. I don't know.
He's a good player, but I don't know. He just had that bad year, like the remaining years on his Leafs contract, like those couple. I don't know what his not career, but what were his numbers on the Leafs before he signed?
So before he signed, it was 54 points in 81 games, and then before that was 62 and 82. So he was like he had a 36 goal season that year.
So. I know. Which year? Is last year?
Right before he signed. His last year with Toronto. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was always Toronto. It was just the shit team of Toronto at the time. I was like, these players don't deserve this contract. The team was so shit. But no, James Van Riemsdyk, he's a lock for 20, 25 goals, I'd say at this point. I just feel like $7 million. I don't know.
It's a lot.
But he hasn't really done much with Philly, right?
He had a 43 point
he did. He had a good
games.
season. Yeah, he had a good season. This year?
Yeah, 43 points in 56 games. It's not
And
bad.
The year before that?
40 points in 66 games. This is really it's like he's like a 50-point scorer at this point, but $7 million, I'm not sure, but because
it's definitely going to be his last contract with that money for sure.
Yeah, he's already.
But I guess I don't know. Am I the only one that seems like it's weird that James Van Riemsdyk is making $7 million?
Yeah,
I'm looking at some because I don't know. Some of the contract steals have been going on. I don't know. Yeah. $7 million seems like a lot to devote into James Van Riemsdyk. But anyway, so those are some of the notable players. We're not going to go through a list. A list will be made. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Hot Sauce Sports will be covering all this. You can get
check that out.
Anything. I don't know if it's out right now, but you'll see. Don't worry. But moving on, Eric, we'll look at some of the biggest trades that have happened recently in NHL. Actually, there's only one. I mean, we could talk about the Nick Leddy going to Detroit.
No. I wanted to talk about that, but it's fine. We don't.
Oh my God! Those are some of the expansion trades, right? We won't talk about it. But let's talk about a big trade that happened. A three-way trade between the Vegas Golden Knights, the Flyers, and the Nashville Predators, Eric. Nashville traded Ryan Ellis to the Flyers in exchange for Philip Myers and Nolan Patrick. That's who that's who Nashville got originally.
Yeah.
And then Nashville flipped Nolan Patrick to Vegas for Cody Glass 1-for-1. And they kept Philip Myers. So Nolan Patrick, Cody Glass, same draft year. Nolan Patrick got drafted 2nd overall. Cody Glass was 6th.
Yeah.
And so they're swapping first round picks. Basically, these are two disgruntled guys who really haven't figured it out respectively for each of their teams. And it's basically just one of those swaps to get things going. So Cody Glass, 22 years old. As we know, the center depth right now in Nashville, you got Matt Duchene, who looks to be declining. We'll see if he has a bounce back year. And then you have Ryan Johansson, who is quickly declining for his contract. So hopefully they're going to try and get Cody Glass. I don't know where they're going to start him out. Maybe they'll start him out third line center. Maybe they start him out on the wing on the second line or something like that. But, he's going to play center. So either you assume that third line role, or maybe they bump down Ryan Johansson to that third line role. Cody Glass gets some time. He's still young, 22.
That's very
2017.
young.
People have called this guy a bust already. He's still, in my opinion, he has a lot of upside. He's 22. He looks like he has size too, right? He's a big kid too. So Nolan Patrick, on the other hand, 22 as well. He was second overall pick, so a bit higher, right? A bit more.
And he was supposed for the entire year. He was supposed to go first. He was a consensus number one over pick, and then he got injured, and then Nico Hischier took over as the number one. So
Nolan Patrick, so far he's kind of been injury prone, as we saw before his career start in the NHL. He was injury prone, and now he got injured big time. His first 2 seasons, I think he had 30-something points apiece.
I think it's 30 exactly both seasons.
It's 33, I think, one season, 30-something. So obviously a slow start to his NHL career, but Eric obviously playing it behind Claude Giroux, Travis Konechny. There's some good centers over there in Philly. He was kind of slated on that third line role, that third line checking role. But Eric, Nolan Patrick just screams the Vegas outline of a player that they want. Does he not remind? Come on, he's a big guy still, right? He's a big kid. He's a center. He's 22. He's young. So he's going to play, hopefully, I think the idea is for him to play the third line right now, slated with Alex Tuch. The second line, they're not separating that William Karlsson line, I don't think. And the first line, it depends. They could swap out Chris Stevenson, but he's looked great on the first line. Chandler Stevenson looks great on that first line. Good skater. He really surprised me coming over from Washington. Didn't think much of that trade, and then he's looked really good. But do they want a little more offense with Max Pacioretty and Mark Stone?
Vegas tried to do that in the beginning of the season. They put Cody Glass on that first line with Pacioretty and Stone.
And it worked a little, but then it didn't really work.
A bit, yeah.
So Nolan Patrick, for me, most likely he's going to be that first line center eventually, right? With Max Pacioretty and Mark Stone. That would be a big line. And if Nolan Patrick can figure it out, then it could be a good trade for the Vegas Golden Knights. It's just
but
I just love the Cody Glass. Yeah, go ahead. If I had to pick,
if you had to bet on who'd be better between Cody Glass and Nolan, because to me, I see them as both Nolan Patrick has a bit more experience in the NHL, but he hasn't proven much. But on the other hand, Cody Glass, I think last year was his first full season, and he hasn't really shown anything.
I think Nolan Patrick has the best chance right now to prove something.
Okay.
If it were to be anyone, it's Nolan Patrick.
Okay.
Because I think he's going to get times at first line center.
Yeah.
And they're going to try and get that offensive line moving. Yeah. Or he can play the third line center with Tuch and be that gritty line, who's their big motivation line. So I could see him work out and play successfully in both those situations. I don't think they're going to rush him in to first line duties right away. They're that's still Chandler Stevenson's spot. He's been there, but I could definitely see some changes happening. Cody Glass, Nashville, they're always going to try and stay competitive, but at the end of the day, they have a lot of cap dedicated in a lot of not old players, but declining players in Duchesne, Ryan Johansson, and now they pick up Philip Myers on the back end, which is going to add. He's 25, I think. Add some size and physicality. Ekholm's their tallest guy. Yeah, he's physical, but Philip Myers is really he's a real big body back there. So that's going to kind of give them a new sense defensively that they haven't gotten recently by trading Ryan Ellis away to the Flyers. And Eric Flyers, like I said, Ryan Ellis goes to the Flyers.
Yeah.
It's going to be him and Provorov.
Sure, that's a good.
They lose Philip Myers, but the Flyers have great depth on the blue line, so they could easily replace Philip Myers. So Ryan Ellis,
Ryan Ellis is really he's so good.
Power play. Talk about the power play, making your power play better. Talk about a guy who can still skate. I mean, this is a good trade for the Flyers. I definitely. They get in the end they get Ryan Ellis for trading Nolan Patrick, who they weren't going to protect.
Yeah, exactly.
And Philip Myers. So that's it. They basically get Ryan Ellis for Nolan Patrick and Philip Myers.
Yeah.
And Nolan Patrick they weren't going to protect.
Yeah, exactly.
So I like this trade from the Flyers. I like Ryan Ellis, very underrated defenseman in this league.
Oh yeah,
makes their power play way better. Because one of the things I think for the Flyers was scoring this season, so they're going to try and get that power play clicking with him on it. Provorov, Ryan Ellis, whatever. and then you can figure out from there what you want to do. You want to do Ryan Ellis Provorov, your first decorn? Do you want to split them up? You still have like Travis Sanheim back there, some pretty good defensemen. So,
but look to Philly to be a dark horse this season.
Dark horse in the Metro for sure.
They have Carter Hart. If he can step up this season, their D is stacked, their forwards are stacked. They're gonna be good.
Yeah, definitely. Carter Hart had a shit season last year. If he turns it around, then Philly could, really be a dark horse. Man, the Metro.
Forget, he's like 22. He's like 22. Carter Hart. Like,
think of the Metro, man. The Rangers, the Flyers, the Islanders are in there. Like the top 3, and then you got to fight for the wild card. Like it's gonna be tough. In the Metropolitan. So that trade happens. Eric, is there really a loser when it comes to this trade?
I don't think so. I think everyone got what they wanted. Philly wasn't going to protect Nolan Patrick.
And you just swap young prospects.
You just swap. Yeah. So
you can't really say there's a loser because Nolan Patrick and Cody Glass still have upside to them.
Exactly.
And time will tell. Right now, the Flyers look great with Ryan Ellis. Nolan Patrick didn't really play for the team, so it's not like they lose anything.
Yeah. And then Cody Glass is young, Nolan Patrick's young, so they because Philly's mostly trying to win now, so they get Ryan. They get Ryan Ellis, who's like he's 30, but like
top
he's a really good
defenseman.
Exactly.
Eats minutes, so he'll be a 25-minute player, and he'll be your top power play specialist. So
exactly.
Philly, they just get better. Vegas, they get a nice prospect. They get Nolan Patrick because Cody Glass didn't work out, so why not swap him, see what you can get? And I feel like Nolan Patrick fits their player or fits their system, what kind of system they play, physical, heavy.
Yeah, physical,
And so that's what Nolan Patrick can do. Hopefully he stays healthy, and I think it can work out for the Vegas Golden Knights because that's a guy that you could play on the third line with Tuck, and that could be a dangerous line, like a real dangerous line. Or you can play him on the first line and switch Chandler Stevens. I don't think so, but I could also see him playing reps there with Mark Stone and Max Pacioretty, which I think eventually is the plan. So we'll see some reps. I just think at first he's going to be on that third line. So you have that deal. 2 weeks prior to that, if we want to keep talking Nashville, Victor Arvidsson went to the Kings for 2 second-round picks. So Nashville, they lose Victor. That was a weird trade, I found. I like Victor Arvidsson. He was a previous 30-goal scorer. He's still young, like 27, 29, 28, something like that. So LA gets him.
Yeah, 28.
Yeah, 28. And he's like, that's perfect. Like, you're still in your prime, 28. LA, of course, they have the cap space and they have the draft capital. So they get nice Victor Arvidsson. I do like the trade. On a young team, it's nice to have players like that who have experience and potential to score goals for your team. And I think he gets second line minutes because Adrian Kempe is probably going to play first line right wing with Kopitar, or left wing. I think he's a left winger. So I think those are some of the biggest trades. I think after that, it's just swaps of bad contracts, or I'm not taking this guy in the trade or the draft, so here, take him.
Yeah.
So, NHL draft July 21st. NHL draft will be July 23rd. That's, Eric, there's going to be a lot. This is the biggest now. It's going to be this and then free agency for us. It's going to be our biggest weeks of NHL. Exactly. We're the because expansion draft, there's probably going to be some trades happening. The NHL draft, there's definitely going to be trades happening, not just players being picked. So once that happens next episode, we'll have the whole breakdown of what happened and what we think. So this episode was just a bit slower, a bit, what we think is going to happen. But Eric, quickly before we end it, let's hop into the UFC.
Yeah, let's go.
Where you've mentioned, I forget, I'm not going to name the guy, but you mentioned this guy, close friend of Khabib. For those who didn't remember, you've talked about him. I don't know how many episodes ago.
A while ago.
When really nobody knew who he was, you talked about him. Now he's kind of ascending in the lightweight rank. Why don't you tell us what's going on?
So when I was first talking about Islam Makhachev, I think he was 15. He was unranked. I don't know. And then he won over Drew Dober. Couple months later, now he fought Thiago Moises, who's the 14th ranked lightweight, and Islam was the 9th. He won. So now Islam, he's on a 8-fight win streak now. 8 fight is heavy, like an 8-fight win streak. Which is one of the I think he's only behind Charles Oliveira right now in the lightweight division. So he has an 8-fight win streak, and no one in the top wants to fight. Like, no one in the top 10 wants to fight him. Like, that's why he can't. Everyone's like, oh, he's not fighting good. No one wants to fight Islam Makhachev. oh, this guy, he's a better striker than Khabib. I said it before. He's a better striker than Khabib. He's 90% of what Khabib is at wrestling, which is pretty fair. And the coaches, even Khabib said it, like, no one can beat Khabib in wrestling during practices. And they say like Islam wins like a good, like, not all of them, but like a good amount, like 20%, like still good. Like no one can beat Khabib in wrestling, but Islam could. So that just shows, and Islam's a better striker. So like the only way Islam can lose is literally by like he can. You have to, yeah. That's the only way he can lose. He's not going to lose by decision because of his wrestling. Like wrestling, there's so many minutes like you're on the floor, so he's not going to lose like that. So it's the only way you can win is knocking him out. So Islam right now, he's 9th. No one in the top wants to fight him. He's calling out RDA, Michael Chandler, like all these fighters, Tony Ferguson. So to me, I want to see him fight Tony Ferguson. I feel like Tony Ferguson would be a really good fight for him. Tony Ferguson on a 3-fight lose streak or 2-fight lose streak. Like he hasn't won in a while. And Tony Ferguson's not the same. He's old now. So if Islam can beat him, that will show a lot. Khabib tried to fight Tony Ferguson and the fight got canceled like 5 times. So that's just going to show like who would actually win that fight. So that'd be very interesting. So Islam, man, I'm telling you, keep an eye out. Give it a year. This guy's gonna be champ. And I could see a super fight between Islam, because Islam's gonna be champ soon.
Fight between welterweight?
Between Islam and McGregor. Because don't forget, Khabib's never coming back.
Oh, super fight. That's what.
Yeah. Oh yeah. What did I say?
You know what the actual term super fight means in UFC? Because I've been playing, a lot of UFC.
Yeah. What does it mean?
Is when you fight the guy, the class higher for the belt.
Oh yeah. No. Yeah. Okay. I know what you mean. That's what Adesanya. That's what Adesanya did. Yeah. Okay. I know what you mean. Okay. My bad. But like a huge fight.
Yeah, against McGregor.
I'm telling you, Islam's gonna be the champ. Like he's gonna be like I don't see the only people I'd see him losing to are Charles Oliveira and Dustin Poirier. Those are the only 2 fighters that I'd be like, okay, Islam's losing to. Other than that, I think he's beating everyone else. I'm telling you, if Islam keeps winning, because he's gonna keep fighting, he's gonna keep winning. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Connor's on a 3-fight losing streak right now in the UFC. Like. Yeah. Connor his rep's kind of dying down a bit. I don't know if he wants to come back, but if he does,
but like, is this rep gonna get? Is like, at this point, if Connor were to fight Islam, like it'd be like a Khabib V2, whatever people would say.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
But at the end of the day, McGregor has way more to lose than he does.
Exactly.
And I don't think McGregor wants to put that on the line.
So that's why I'd say make Islam champ. Islam's gonna be champ. I know he's gonna be champ.
Okay, and then fight
Islam champ, and then
is McGregor even worth fighting at that point when you're the?
That's what I'm saying, but. To me, I want to see, because everyone wants to see Khabib versus McGregor. Like that's a good story. Khabib versus McGregor 2 would be by far the biggest fight of all. Like
pay-per-view.
That'd be humongous. So let's get the bootleg version of McGregor versus Islam. Not? You know what I mean? And Islam, like a lot of people believe, like because he's like 2-3 years younger than Khabib.
Islam jump into that octagon to punch McGregor in the face. Remember that?
I don't think. Oh no, Yeah, I know he was one of those guys. He was in the ring. I think he didn't go after Conor, but I think he went after Dylan.
At that point. What like he was just boxing, like you fighting where?
No, he was still he was already in the UFC.
Oh, he was in UFC by then too.
Oh, he already had like a 5-6 fight win streak. Yeah.
Just
like,
very low ranked.
Imagine being on an 8-fight win streak, and then he's probably gonna win another 2 fights before he becomes like I'm telling you.
So he just fought, right? He just fought.
Yeah, he just fought, won in the 4th round. So this was his first.
Play again? Who did he fight?
Thiago Moises, who's the 14th ranked lightweight, which isn't that good, but
not that good.
He showed like. Because it was a main event, right? So you fight 5 rounds in the main event. It was his first main event. He went to the 4th round, choked him out.
Nice.
He amazing. Like, he showed his striking, so it was really good for him. So that's why I'm so interested to see how far he can go. Because no one wants to fight him. Like no one. Like in the UFC, there's a thing. Like same thing happened to Khabib. Same thing happened to Kamaru Usman. So what happens is these fighters, they're wrestlers first. So no one wants to fight these wrestlers, and they can strike a bit. So no one wants to fight them. They're forced to take any fight they can. So they're taking like pretty much bums, and they're destroying these guys. And then the top fighters, they don't want to fight them. So what happens is they just keep racking up the wins. And then after one day, like the other guys are going to be forced to fight them, and then they'll just keep winning. So that's what happens.
I mean, you're in the top 5. You're not going to fight a guy who's ranked. What's his rank now?
Well, it's 9, which is pretty high.
Which is pretty 9. But before that, I mean, when he why is he? So he's 9 and he's fighting the number 14th guy.
Exactly, because no one.
Well, yeah, because at the end of the day, nobody wants to put
fight.
They have way more to lose. These top 5 guys, right?
And they know they won't win. There's 0% chance other than like they're not winning. Dustin and Charles Oliveira are the only two.
Who's the lightweight champion right now?
Charles Oliveira.
And who's the number 1 ranked lightweight?
Dustin Poirier.
So he's number 1. Okay.
So that's how. So
when is Dustin gonna get one? When is he getting a title shot?
So really soon. So
yeah, he's the number 1 ranked.
Dustin's fighting. Yeah, and to me, Dustin's better than Charles Oliveira by far. Like I believe Dustin's the best fighter.
I don't doubt there's gonna be a Dustin lightweight champion coming soon.
Oh yeah, really soon. And then if you that's the only thing I don't understand is how will you be able to do like the 4th fight between Dustin and Conor when right now Conor's ranked 7th in the lightweight. He's not even close, but it's Conor, right? So he'll get whatever fight he wants. But how is Dustin, who probably if he becomes a champ, he won't be able to fight Conor like I don't want to see like you can't just give Conor opportunities like that all the time,
especially for the belt too.
Exactly, the belt is big.
Winning.
Exactly. So
Dustin's not gonna give Conor a fight if he's on a losing streak because at the end of the day, you're trying to sell the fight. You're trying to make the most money, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, but
let's be honest.
I just contradicted myself. So Conor will sell.
Conor will sell. Yeah, exactly.
Sell. But if you're Dustin, like at one point you got to be like, listen,
I'm not in for a
guy who's on a 3 fight losing streak. I mean, if you want a shot at the belt, you got to be on a winning streak.
Exactly.
Like a 5, you got to be on a winning streak here.
And let's be fair, like okay, maybe like it's not that fair to the other fighters either. But like to be honest, McGregor, he's the main reason why they're making so much money in the first place because McGregor made this.
They'll sell, but I don't know.
It's just tough.
Is it even like? If McGregor's on this losing streak, there's no shot he can. There's no chance he deserves a title shot, in my opinion.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
that's why
on a winning streak.
That's why everyone's saying like the lightweight division is looking really nice right now. Like there's so many good fighters. So I'm really interested.
So talk about the heavyweight.
Okay, so the heavyweight. We've talked about this before too.
Francis Ngannou. We talked about when he won. He's now the champion.
Yeah, and who's he going to fight next?
Right? And then we asked, who's he going to fight next?
Yeah.
I forget who we said, but now we have a clear vision, right?
Exactly. So this is what's going to happen. So Cyril Gane just won against, I think it was Rosenstrike. So Cyril against Volkov. So Cyril Gane just won, and he's going to fight Derek Lewis, who's a beast. His nickname's the Black Beast.
Yep.
And he's fighting Cyril Gane for the interim belt, which is right under. And so the winner of that fight is going to be UFC 265. The winner of that fight will fight Francis Ngannou. And then whatever happens after that, John Jones, I don't know where or Miocic, I don't know where he's jumping in there. But to be honest, Derek Lewis versus Cyril Gane, it can go either way because every fight that Derek Lewis is in, there's basically a knockout or it's either there's a knockout or absolutely nothing happens.
Yeah.
So that's what happened with Ngannou and Derek Lewis in the first fight. It was a 3-round fight. They just stood there and like they hit there was no hit. So it was boring. No one wanted to watch that. So, but Cyril Gane versus Derek Lewis, that's gonna be an amazing fight. There's gonna be a knockout 100%. Like, I'm excited for that.
Any chance any of those two beat Francis?
Derek Lewis. To be honest, okay. So
who has the best chance? Who has the best chance to make it the best fight?
The best fight probably because Cyril Gane trained with Francis before,
okay.
So he kind of knows how it goes. Yeah. Derek Lewis could get that knockout victory, or he can do what he did like last fight and just stand there and like. But Francis is a different fighter now, so I don't know if anyone's on Francis's level right now. But it's a UFC, it's a heavyweight. Anything can happen. Any heavyweight fight. This is why heavyweight champs it's so hard to stay heavyweight champ because they punch so heavy. You land one clean punch, you're out. Remember, I don't know if you saw the video. You know the shoey guy, the guy that does a shoey with milk. Like he pours beers in his shoe and he drinks it.
Oh yeah, that fighter, yeah.
Yeah, so he got a knockout last fight, and he got punched. He was almost dazed. All it took was one left hook, and the guy was out. Like it's literally just one punch and it's over. That's what the heavyweight is. So it's so hard to predict these fights and say it's because
there's no ground game. There's nothing. It's just all pounding.
Yeah, there's some ground. Like when Daniel Cormier was there, there's a lot of ground game, but it doesn't. It's not that much because all you need is one punch. Yeah,
basically, they're not training wrestling. They're not training or practicing while wrestling because most of the time it's not on the ground. Yeah. We have a clear vision on when that's gonna. You said UFC 265. Those two. So then UFC.
I don't know which one it is. I believe they said it was.
There will be a title shot coming up between Francis Ngannou and somebody,
and the winner.
And then so that should be the biggest, I'd say, belt challenge, I guess, unless Dustin Poirier gets a belt challenge soon. So a lot of exciting things. I'm just excited for the next super fight. Like I just bought UFC 4. I'm starting to play.
I know.
I'm trying to learn these fighters and stuff, but I want this next super fight. I want someone to fight someone in another weight class for the belt. I don't know. When's the last time that happened?
It was Yan versus Israel. So Israel didn't win.
So wait, what were the weight classes?
So Israel is 185, so middleweight, and he fought Yan, who was a champ at 205
for heavyweight.
Yeah,
for heavyweight. And who won? The
so Yan,
middleweight?
The light heavyweight. So Yan won. Yeah.
So it's okay. So it's a light heavyweight, middleweight, then light heavyweight, right?
Yeah.
Different classes.
Yeah.
So light heavyweight
is higher.
Different.
What? Yeah.
Light heavyweight and heavyweight are different. But has Francis Ngannou ever fought light heavyweight for sure?
No. Light heavyweight, you gotta be 205 and under.
And what's heavyweight? 225
and over.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yo, Francis is like 265.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, if you jump from, I remember when I played, I jumped from welterweight to whatever the style bender is in.
Middleweight, yeah.
So middleweight, yeah.
So that's only one. It's only 15 pounds different, and it happens pretty often. It happens pretty often.
Bulked up and stuff. So yeah. I just want to see a super fight.
I know. But
when I played, I was like so hyped up.
That's fun. Because the UFC, like some of these fights, like sometimes you'll have like that boring fight from time to time. Yeah. But sometimes some of these fights are so insane. Like even the Dustin.
No, I'm learning the players of the classes. I'm learning a lot about the welterweight because that's where I am.
Yeah. Okay.
A lot of welterweight, some lightweight. So I'm trying to get back into but to get into it. Actually,
that's fair.
Trying to learn some of the fights, how they play. Because I also learned like their player type, like who my god, boxer, like boxer.
Yeah. No, it's fun though. But UFC is so fun to play.
Yeah, especially when it's like your first day and you beat Eric Zhang, who's been playing a while.
And then Chtib comes back. She's like, "Oh, I got UFC 4. I'm better than you," and then I beat him.
Give me once. First of all, UFC 4. Play me on UFC 4, you'll never win. UFC 3, different game, different controls. UFC 4, you'll never.
Yeah, because you have these control. I still understand how you do that leg kick. That you know when you fake.
Because it's all modifiers, man. You just gotta use them. You gotta play with the modifiers. That's it. You just suck at video games too.
I know.
Like Chell, like anything. Like you're just like video game impaired. Eric Zhang is video.
game
impaired. The guy's just not like you physically can't be good at video games.
No, like people are like
video game.
People are like, "Oh, it's because closest." Yeah, I know. Because people were like, "Oh, you don't play enough." Like, I think I just suck at video games in general. Like, it doesn't matter which game. I just suck.
You don't own a video like PS4.
Exactly. But I don't think that would change any. Because remember back in the day,
we used to change something.
We used to play like the same amount all the time. Like when you first got like we used to like 2K, even 2K. Like we used to play the same amount, and then I'd play and I'd still suck. Even like you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I have all this time at home. You don't. Like, it's tough when you go over to your friend's house and like.
Yeah, fair.
Unless you're me and you go over like friend's house and you play UFC 3 for the first time and just dominate. But yeah. So UFC. We'll see what's coming up in the next whatever we are in 260. We're in 265. So move forward from there. Quickly, we missed. I just want to talk about Phil Danault. Looks like he's most likely going to walk to free agency. He's looking to have like a 5-6 year deal, $5.5 million more, or he's looking around that. So Montreal is going to let him walk to free agency. Yeah. There's still
he deserves it though. He deserves it. He does it. Yeah.
Because I think when he goes into free agency, a lot of teams are going to be hesitant to sign him to that money, $5.5 million, and that's when he's going to come crawling back to Montreal on that cheap $4.5 million deal or whatever.
No, don't. So, Danault deserves better. He deserves better.
Yeah, but there's no team in the league that is going to sign him for $5.5-6 million. No team, and whoever he signs with, thank God you overpaid for Philip Danault because he's not going to score more than 12 goals for you or put up more than like we'll see if he's a 50-point player. It depends which team he's on.
I know what you mean.
He was almost a 50-point player 1 year in Montreal, but he's kind of dipped. I don't know. I wouldn't sign him for 5.5, 6. That's why I wanted to overpay him for the 3 years. I give him 3 years, 6.5. I'd be like, take the 6, take the
3 years, 6.5.
3 years, 6.5. Oh yeah. Especially with Weber off the books next year, maybe Price. Yeah. Well, who knows what's happening? Oh yeah, I'd give him that 6.5.
Fair.
3 years or 2 years, $7 million. I don't know.
Damn.
But I think he's looking for long term. I don't think.
But if Kevin Hayes got that money, like, just give it to Danault. Like,
yeah, but Danault is way better defensively. Kevin Hayes way better offensively.
I wouldn't say way better offensively. Kevin Hayes. Kevin Hayes
definitely more upside. Definitely more upside.
Fair.
But Phil's great. One of the best, most underrated Selke Hayes.
Oh, so underrated.
Whichever team signs him is going to be their lockdown center. But I think Phil Danault needs to realize that he's not a first-line center, and no team's going to pay him to be their first-line center. And that's what I think he's going to realize soon in free agency, and hopefully he comes crawling back to Montreal. But at the end of the day, that's that for the Chtib Zhang. So next week, a lot more busier episode. We'll have the Seattle Kraken, the team, what we're dealing with, who will be the team next year. We'll be talking about the NHL draft, talking about the picks, talking about the trades that went down most likely. And the NBA Finals 2 will be done by then. So a busy episode next week. So stay tuned for that. Yeah. And episode 30th, the milestone. So stay tuned for that episode. And once again, thank you for listening on Spotify or watching on YouTube to the Chtib Zhang Show. And we'll see you guys next week. See ya. Peace.